Lauren Kahn wrote in her story for the Australian version of Reader's Digest that the Titanic was previously unsinkable, so how could it sink to the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean barely 4 days after its first trip? Was it the Titanic? Many agree that the luxury ship set sail on April 10, 1912, and sank 4 days later, killing about 1,500 of the 2,222 on board. However, there is a point at which the consensus ends, as some insist that the ship that sank was not the Titanic, but the RMS Olympic, almost identical. According to the novel, the Olympic was injured in an accident a year before the sinking, but the co-owners of the ships presented the Olympics as the Titanic to get a better insurance payout, so they purposely drowned it. Although this Titanic scenario has many flaws, serial numbers on parts of the ship that did not drown confirm it. A recent video offered convincing proof that the Titanic was damaged by inflammation of the coal fire, which was burning 3 weeks before the ship even sailed, according to the writer. The damage would have damaged the ship's hull, causing it to sink if it collided with an iceberg, if it did hit an iceberg. People thought for decades that Captain Smith was speeding over the freezing seas of the North Atlantic so that the Titanic might travel the Atlantic faster than her Olympic sister ship. However, in 2004, the American Geological Society issued an academic study by engineer Robert Essenhage, claiming that the real purpose for the Titanic's captain's speed was to burn coal as soon as possible to manage the reported coal fire. In the same context, the writer mentioned that on September 1, 1985, oceanographer Robert Ballard discovered the wreck, which is located 2.5 miles below the surface of the ocean. It was believed that the ship sank intact after hitting an iceberg while speeding recklessly through the icy waters near the coast of the island of Newfoundland, while Ballard's discovery led to the establishment of a new theory that the ship split into 2 parts as a result of manufacturing defects. Is it true that there was an iceberg? Isn't it possible that an iceberg hit the Titanic? Captain L.M. Collins, a professional sailor, believes that if the Titanic had hit an iceberg, it would have sunk in a matter of a few minutes. Instead, Collins and his followers theorized that the Titanic may have hit with an ice pack of ice packs, old ice sheets that floated close to the ocean's surface, that had made its way into the Atlantic via the Arctic Ocean. Collins points out the differences in witness reports, which are most likely due to natural optical illusions, particularly if the crew had binoculars. Why didn't the crew have binoculars? The writer reported that the storage section contained the full stock of Titanic binoculars. The key to this section was in the possession of a crew member who had been removed from the ship before it set sail, and who later claimed that he had forgotten to hand the key. But a questioner may ask, did he forget that? Or did he hold it on purpose? Even without binoculars, the Titanic might have had enough time to adjust course before crashing, according to the writer, especially if the crew was informed of it. On the other hand, a nearby ship, the SS Californian, warned the crew via radio 1 hour before the accident, indicating that it had paused due to the presence of a thick ice field. However, the Titanic's radio operator, Jack Phillips, failed to relay the warning to Captain Smith, with some thinking that the message was purposefully sent because it was not urgent. Did the California ship have the ability to save the Titanic? The writer added that this cruise ship was less than 20 kilometers from the place of the sinking of the Titanic when it sent warnings to the Titanic that there were icy dangers. Subsequently, the California crew reportedly ignored the Titanic's distress signals, although they claimed they were unaware because the radio operator had stopped working. The writer reported that John Pierpont Morgan was considered one of the wealthiest people on the planet at the time, and he had great influence. In addition, Morgan did not catch the flight at the last minute. Which leads us to ask many questions, perhaps the most important of which is, why did Morgan and all his family members miss the trip? Was he aware of what would happen? Was he the one who planned this incident? Was the shipwreck a plot? The writer pointed out that some believe that the sinking of the ship has nothing to do with the insurance money, but rather Morgan is the one who planned the sinking accident to kill his competitors. Jacob Astor, Isidor Straus, and Benjamin Guggenheim perished on board the ship. The writer explained that, according to History.com, regardless of the cause of the sinking of the Titanic, such a massive loss of life could have been avoided if the ship had sufficient lifeboats for its passengers and crew. Whatever way we look at the Titanic disaster, the cause of the ship's tragedy will always be a source of mystery and conjecture. Perhaps one day we will know or discover something that confirms the cause of the sinking of this ship. This information was published in all of the above research journals and websites. Personally, I believe there is a possibility that there is a secret behind the ice sinking tragedy, and who knows? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with this? Please write to us in the comments section. If you enjoyed the video, please like it and subscribe to the channel to receive notifications of new videos.